Well, the Edmonton Oilers take a 3-1 series lead in this second round, but it wasn't how they drew it up, especially in the third period, as I'm pleased to be welcomed by Cam Moon and Gene Principe. We'll talk about that third period in just a few moments, but Gene, it's the longest tenured Edmonton Oiler, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. The games leading up to this, we've been talking about the newest acquisitions in Evander Kane and Zach Hyman, but tonight, it's the man playing his 11th season in Edmonton, getting the job done with 2 goals.
Well, if the artist drew it up like that, they better find a new artist, because that was not quite the way you would want it. But in the end, you would put your signature in the bottom corner, because it was a masterpiece in the sense that the Edmonton Oilers won and lead the series 3-1. The Nuge, right? The Nuge is like a love affair with the Edmonton Oilers, with this city. First pick, 2011, he comes here, he's a Burnaby kid, but played in Red Deer, so there's this real, as you know more than anyone, a geographical connection to this young kid. And he comes here, and then they get Nail Yakupov, and then they get, Darnell Nurse, and they get Leon Draisaitl, and they get Connor McDavid, and this Nuge is kind of like, he's always around, he's faithful, he's dependable, but he's not always the guy that we talk about, and especially in the last couple of years with Connor and Leon, off the charts. But what does he do? He says, you know what, I'm willing to potentially take less money, I'm willing to stay here a long time, I want to do what doesn't happen much anymore, and that's play my entire career with one team. And that's why people love the Nuge. And I've never, ever, on camera, off camera, in any way, shape, or form, seen or heard Ryan upset about the fact that he's, been pushed down. Always, maybe he's second line or he's third line. He's a winger. He's a centerman. Not a complaint. He has always done what is best for the team, and so I think that's why, as a player, he should be ecstatic with what he did this evening, close to a hat trick, and the fans love the guy, and you could just add another sort of piece of his heart to this town and this city for what he accomplished.
His second of the hockey game in the third period stood as the game winner, and he said it post-game. It was probably the biggest goal of his career so far. But his first goal, Cam, came just 21 seconds in. It was kind of a gift from Jacob Markstrom, and then it was the hockey gods giving a gift back in return in the third period. Mike Smith simply said post-game, I lost it.
Yeah, he just didn't see it. Rasmus Anderson lets it go from 132 feet away. He didn't know where it was. And if it doesn't hit the 4x6, it's not a big deal. It goes wide of the net, and he didn't see it. And a lot of people in the building, I thought if it went wide, wouldn't even have noticed that he didn't see it. But he didn't see it. So what are you going to do? It goes in. It ties the game. That was a potential huge turning point, not just in this game, this entire series. It could have swung the wrong way. Oilers had a 3-0 lead evaporate on a goal that is as bizarre as it gets. But a credit to Mike Smith, and that's the veteran presence. He didn't let it rattle him. He was able to finish strong in the game. Honestly, there's a lot of NHL goaltenders that would have been their demise in the game, and it would have been really tough for the team. But he was able to dial it in for the last part of the game. Great to see. And the Oilers able to come back and get the goal by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that holds up as the winner.
Cam, not only with Mike Smith, but what about the team as a whole? Their ability to deal with adverse situations. We see it time and time again, and it seems like they're prevailing more times than not.
Well, and that's the experience of guys like Mike Smith and guys like Duncan Keith, but also the maturation of players that have been here for a little while now, that have been through some ups and downs in the postseason, that have dealt with these sorts of things. If it was a team full of players that didn't have a lot of playoff experience, it might not have gone as good as it did tonight. But they've been through some ups and downs, and those downs help you get stronger and help you get better. They've been through some of those now.
Gene, 4 multi-point scorers today, led in the point column by Leon Draisaitl. He picked up another 3 assists, and Nugent-Hopkins and Kane with 2 goals apiece, and Connor McDavid delivering his 10th multi-point outing in 11 games. But not to be overlooked, the defense. They did a lot of things right to make sure that the Oilers came out on top tonight. Yeah,
you look around the NHL and you look at some of the teams that are alive, and I look specifically at a team like Tampa with Victor Hedman, and who, Norris Trophy winner. He's a top 3 defenseman every year for the last 5 and probably for the next 5. And those guys, they're not around. If you don't draft them, and the Oilers have not drafted one, then it's a little bit different. Darnell Nurse, to me, is the Oilers' #1 defenseman, and he's right. He may not be in that, let's say, Cale Makar group, Victor Hedman group, but he's very close to me, and so I look at him as kind of a 1A. But then you've got Cody Ceci, a guy who has been in other spots, things hadn't gone as well for him, comes here, great signing. You got Barry and Kulak. What a tag team they are, right? Kulak's been fantastic. What a return home for him. And Tyson Barrie, he's always one of those players you think, we don't. But then when you don't have him, you're like, we could use him. And the second pairing, right? You've got the guy with the Hockey Hall of Fame resume and this young kid, Evan Bouchard. And I love what Jay Woodcroft said. He goes, you might not look at our defense and go, wow. But then you put them all together and add Chris Russell. Here's a guy who's played over 900 games that's available. Boom, boom, boom. We need him. He's there anytime. You add that up and you go, this is a good defense. And I remember when Vancouver went to the Cup final and they discussed in 2011 and they discussed you need so many defensemen because it really is a war of attrition. And they didn't really have, there was a lot of talk about the Sedins back then, and they didn't really have this star defenseman, and they made it to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. So I think the Oilers are proving that they have the right group of defensemen that can be successful and have been successful.
And the right mix as well. But speaking of mix, the Oilers mixing it up in the way that they're winning hockey games in this second round series. But Cam and then Gene, what can we expect down in Calgary in Game 5?
Well, I think you're going to see a very desperate Calgary Flames team. And I thought, let's not lose sight of the fact Flames played pretty good here tonight. They did. Like that could have went either way in the third period. It went the Oilers' way. They found a way. So I think it's going to be a very desperate Calgary Flames team. It won't be easy by any stretch. Oilers are going to have to bring a very, very good game. It'll be a charged-up atmosphere at Scotiabank Saddledome, which you would expect with their team on the brink. So they're going to push back. They'll push back hard. I think the Edmonton Oilers will, again, it starts, you enjoy it tonight, but it starts back at 0 again. There's no momentum. It starts at 0, so they got to be ready when the puck drops.
Well, and I would say, right on the heels of what Cam said, the Calgary Flames kind of played good enough potentially to win tonight. And I know Darryl Sutter going into this game said, listen, we need to win a game on the road. They didn't do it now, so now they got to go home and win one at home so they can come back here potentially to win the road game that the Calgary Flames coach is talking about. They got Chris Tanev back in their lineup, which is a big boost for them. Very good defensively. One of those players that plays through pain and is an inspiration. But the Oilers are set up now. Listen, they learned their lesson. Remember in the opening series, up 2-1, LA came back. They were on the brink of elimination. I understand that fourth game is hardest to win, but I think with this Battle of Alberta situation, the tension building, the pressure building, that the Edmonton Oilers are in a perfect spot to win this and move on. Will they do it? I don't know. But if Calgary doesn't kind of blow their doors off in the first, even half of the game and aren't up by 2 or 3, I really like Edmonton's chances. I just see a team that really is growing in confidence, not just every game, every win. And so they've set themselves up. And listen, they want to have some time off because they're going to soon be potentially facing Colorado or St. Louis. So I think it's going to be a great game and another feather in the cap of the Battle of Alberta and hockey in this province.
With the Edmonton Oilers' 5-3 victory tonight, they sit just one win away from the Western Conference Final. They look to do that for the first time since 2006. That year, they defeated the San Jose Sharks in 6 games and, of course, looking to defeat the Calgary Flames in 5 at the Saddledome on Thursday night. For Cam, Gene, I'm Tony. Thanks for joining us, guys.
No problem.